So this is the AOLithium 12 volt 100 amp hour battery. And I'm actually excited to open this one up because it has a different design than everything else that we've been opening up lately. And I saw pictures of the interior on their website and it looks really nice. So I actually have high hopes for this. But how does it compare to our SOK battery? This one actually costs more. This one's $630 and the SOK 100 amp hour 12 volt is $570. So today we're going to open up this new battery and see if it's worth the $60 extra. First off, this one has Bluetooth. This one doesn't. Next, this is a plastic case, so if the lid is sealed, it might be good for marine use. So we could actually replace like a Battleborn with something like this if the build quality is just as good. The SOK is in a steel case, which is very strong, but you should not use it in a high moisture environment. Another difference is the SOK can discharge 100 amps. The AOLithium can discharge 200 amps continuously. Next, both batteries have very good cells. These are UL listed grade A cells, and these are grade A cells that are cycle tested and from a very good distributor. So anyways, that's enough talking. Let's actually open this pack up and see what's inside. Now before we open this battery, I forgot to mention that I did a capacity test with my CBA4 and amplifier system, and we measured 102 amp hours, so it did pass that test. So anyways, let's get back to it. Oh gosh, that smells awful. Whew! Guys, look at these pieces of copper. They're using flexible copper bars to connect the terminals to the BMS and to the main terminal. And look at that copper, that's incredible. This is why it can handle a 200 amp discharge. And I've not seen a battery with these ever before. This is really nice. So we've got a lot of current that can flow right here, so I'm wearing some safety glasses. Holy cow. These are on here very tight. Jeez, man, really? God, how weak am I? Okay. So this looks like a JBD BMS Bluetooth module, but we'll find out in a second. And look at this massive heatsink. And it's not touching the cells. We have a piece of metal that separates the cells from the BMS. So first we're going to disconnect the balance lead so we have no power in the BMS. So next we're going to disconnect this BMS from the battery. We should look at the BMS connection and ensure there's nothing wrong with the solder joint or something. It is hard to fit a socket on this thing. How did they get this on here? So this is like a 4.5 socket and I don't have that. So I'm just going to remove these screws right here and remove the whole battery and see if there's a better way to get inside. It looks so easy to take apart, but it's actually kind of difficult. Like, it's impossible to get a socket on here because of this copper bar. No, it's not enough. I really don't want to run to the store and get this little tiny socket. I guess I'll run to the store and get that little tiny socket. So I just went to Lowe's and there's a 4.5 millimeter socket. I never knew that these existed at all. And luckily there was an electrical engineer to show me because no one else that works there knew about this size. Oh no, I should have gone to 5.5. It was one size up. Gosh, dang it. No, I do not want to go to the hardware store again. Dang it, man. So we are back from the hardware store. So this is a 5.5 millimeter socket. Gosh, man, that took forever. Let's just make sure it fits. Okay, good, it fits. Yes, finally. How did they put this thing together? It is so hard to fit this socket on here. Got it. Jeez. That took like an hour to go to the store and back and do all that. Woo. Really don't like these terminals. Oh my gosh, did I almost touch those? Oh no, that's how they're supposed to be. Okay, that's a serious connection. This design is just not very serviceable at all. I know some people like to work on their own batteries, and when you see that BMS on the top, it looks like it's easy to take apart, but I don't think so. Let's look at that BMS. Oh, so there's a heatsink on this side and on this side. This is actually a really nice design. There we go. Oh, look at that. Look at that copper, guys. 200 amps right there. FET number is HY4903. And then the second number is A1F01LA1N. Just in case you guys want to look those up. And check out this shunt right here. See, this is a power resistor and it measures the voltage drop across it. That's how it calculates the state of charge of the battery. And this is the connection of the temperature sensor. And it is glued on there, so I can't really see if it's a bad connection. That actually looks perfect. And this looks really nice. This looks like those medical batteries that I reviewed like 2 years ago. This BMS looks very similar. Oh, look at this. JBD. It's a JBD BMS. This is probably the best JBD I've seen out there. They need to make and sell these, especially in a 48 volt version with 200 amps. This thing is nice. So I put the battery back together again. I'm going to discharge it really quickly, and then we're going to try charging again with some really cold water. So first we have a pre-charge resistor. Ooh, we still got a spark. I didn't charge the caps up enough. 120 amps. And it's missing a heat sink on the other side, so I shouldn't do this for very long. And this is like 1 to 3% accuracy, but we're getting the same figures with this meter as we are with the shunt on the battery. So now we're charging with 10 amps, and we're gonna drop this into the ice water. And it works! And look at that, the temperature did not change. So this is a temperature sender on the FETs themselves. And look at that, it's charging up again. So this temperature sender does work. Oh, it even plots the voltage, the capacity, and also the temperature on graphs. Isn't that nice? They should make this app for all JBD BMSs. That would be fantastic. This beats the heck out of the old one. But I did find something that I do dislike about this battery. I looked up the FETs online and I actually found the data sheet. You can only put 2 of these into series. And then I looked up the manual second, and what I found agreed with the manual. So if you're trying to make a 48 volt battery, this will not do it. This can only work for 12 and 24 volt systems only. And compare that for a second to SOK batteries. You can series connect those up to 48 volts. So in the future, if you want to build up to a 48 volt system, you cannot do it with these packs. I really need you guys to understand that. But this battery would be perfect for a 12 volt system that has to push large loads but still needs to be pretty small. So with RV and van dwellers, this might actually be a really good setup. And this case is not marine grade. There is no rubber seal on the lid. It's hard for water to get in, but it's not technically sealed. You could actually glue this or make your own gasket or something. That wouldn't be that hard to do. They should put a gasket in there. It's a continuous flat surface. This is a flat surface. They could easily make those work together. Companies should add that, and then they could call this a waterproof battery, because these are epoxy terminals. These are very nice. This is just like the Battleborn. Also notice that the cells are lifted up from the bottom. That's actually nice to have that buffer of air if you have extreme environments. So I really like how the cells are situated. And then you have a piece of metal to separate it from the BMS. That actually matters a lot when you're pushing 200 amps so close to cells that can degrade in high ambient temperature environments. So I would say it's a good battery for 12 volt systems only. I personally do not like 24 volt. I think you should do 12 volt or 48 volt. But yeah, for 12 volt high current applications where weight's an issue, I think these would be fantastic. Also, because it has its own shunt, you don't have to buy that for your system. So instead of spending an extra $100 on a Victron shunt, which I personally love, you can just use the Bluetooth app and the BMS. So I think these are great for a van dweller. All you have to do is connect an inverter and a solar charge controller and you're done. You have, battery monitoring on your phone and that's it. So very easy to use. And that's all I have to say about this battery. I can't think of anything else. If you disagree with anything that I said or any of my testing methods, please leave a comment below. Also, if you ever have any problems with this company or with this battery, please leave a comment below and I will pin it to the top and tell everybody about your problems. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching and I will talk to you soon. Bye.